Yeah, we're going to talk about the good, Jonathan Taylor, the bad, Chris Ballard, and the ugly, the last 5 seasons on this show. We're going to chop it up every day, talk Colts football. Hope you guys enjoy it. This is Culture Uncut.
Welcome to the Postgame Culture Uncut recap of the preseason game number 2, the opener at Lucas Oil Stadium. Not great. Ended in a Falcons 34-6 win and a loss at home for the Colts. Again, preseason, don't really care about the score, who wins and loses. But this was not a good effort from the Colts. They were flat all game and outplayed all game. Give credit to the Falcons. They were outplayed during the joint practices from all accounts, and they came out and their depth players just kicked the crap out of our depth players and our back of the roster guys, and it was ugly. It was not good. I'm going to go over some of the bad. There's a lot of bad, and I'm going to give you some of the silver linings. And I guess, let's just go through the game. You just look at the statistics. They 461 yards to 164, 23 first downs to 9. The Colts had 8 penalties, just undisciplined, terrible 1 of 11 on third down. They were not ready to play. That's the first thing I took from it. The players looked flat, they didn't have any energy. And that is not good because a lot of these players are fighting for their NFL lives. And you put tape out there like they put out there today, not only are the Colts not going to want you, nobody is. And that was just a flat, uninspired performance by the entire team, minus a couple of guys. And I don't know if that goes to, I think it goes to a lack of talent. If you want the raw truth, I think it's a lack of talent, and, the Colts just did not show up. And again, I don't care ever about scores in terms of winning and losing in preseason games. It's all about evaluation. That's what everything is about, right? In the preseason, it's evaluation of all the players that play and do they have a fit on this roster. And I'm telling you folks, this depth that Chris Ballard has on this roster is not good. Not good in a lot of places. And that is scary because I was listening to the Colts roundtable wrap up of this game, and Zach made a great point. Zach Hicks, or maybe it was Derek, somebody, but if everything goes perfect, the Colts, no injuries and everything's perfect, they're good. They're fine. They've always been that way, right? Under Ballard. But the minute there's any adversity with this team, everything goes off the rails. And off the rails usually starts with an injury. And when you don't have a player that is at least replacement level average player to come in and do the job, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So the bigger picture for me, and I'm not going to go on a Chris Ballard rant because we all have heard me do it, and you all know how I feel, and it doesn't need to be stated or restated again, is quite simply the depth on this team is not good enough. If they stay healthy, like I said, when we talked, I talked about the 3 things that needed to happen for this team to win and make the playoffs and all that. They're not going to stay healthy. This is a collision sport. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to be a perfect season out, it's just not going to happen. That's not the league. That's not the NFL. There's going to be adversity, and this team, for all of, this find a way crap, it's about understanding what adversity is going to come and how to handle it. And that begins at the top with Chris Ballard bringing in players that are capable of filling in and doing a good job. And there are not a lot of those guys on this roster. And it's gonna be, I think, a very similar season in a lot of ways to the previous seasons in terms of this team just doesn't have good depth. They have depth. It's not good depth. And I mean, when you see a guy like Blake Freeland, a 4th round pick out there getting cooked by like 10th string, 13th string, edge rushers constantly, that is not a good look. Granted, I don't think Blake Freeland is going to be on this roster. He's just not, he's one of the worst players I've seen. And the Colts have a lot of those guys that are bad. There is no excuse for any of it. It's just they haven't developed or the talent was never there. Bottom line, they shouldn't be on this roster. And I think Ballard has a problem letting go of guys he's invested picks in. And that scares me. Because this is about winning. This is a business. I don't care. Like, if it was up to me, I'm not even sure JTT would make this roster. I'm not kidding. He's been that bad. He's done nothing in a year and whatever. Nothing. I've seen nothing from him. I saw one rep that he beat a backup lineman 2 weeks ago on a spin move. That is the highlight of his NFL career. I like JTT. He's a good guy. He seems like a great kid. But this is a business, man. And listen, he is not doing anything. He's done nothing to make this roster. And I don't care that he's a 2nd round pick at all. You cut Zach Banner. I think he was a 3rd round pick, the tackle that ended up starting in Pittsburgh. Your rookie year, Chris, you didn't have a problem doing that. Like, I'm off of, we drafted this guy, we have to develop. Listen, he has shown nothing. And I know it sounds like I'm piling on JTT, but these are the guys that are going to have to play if there are injuries. And he has been dominated by backup after backup after backup. And that is a reflection of Chris Ballard. And Chris Ballard's arrogance to not go get an edge when there were more available. He's got to go get an edge. Period. I like Gums. I like Curry, but I don't think they're year one ready to make an impact. They need an edge that can go get the quarterback. Period. Because it's not JTT. It's obviously Arden Key's going to start there. I don't know how he's going to be against the run. I haven't studied him a lot, but I think Arden Key starts. You don't have, I wanted him as like a rotational pass rusher, not a base 4-down guy. But because your 2nd round pick has not developed at all, Arden Key is going to start. But then who do you have behind him? Curry? I mean, are we going to trust Curry? Is he going to actually try to play JTT? And these are the things, these seemingly minute details that kill you during the season. Oh, well, we lost this game because of that. We couldn't get to it's because JTT had 50% of the snaps and he can't rush. So I don't care they lost 34-6. I don't care, in terms of, the score and all it's about the individuals that did play in this game that showed absolutely nothing. The backup center has got to be fixed. Jimmy Morrissey cannot be the backup center, period. They have to go find a center. I don't know where there are any centers because there's not a lot available, but there has to be somebody better than him. He can't snap, and if you can't snap, you can't play. Not in this offense, or any offense, right? That has to be corrected. I love our starting corners. And Cam Taylor-Britt's been a surprise. He's played well. But Edwards shouldn't be on this roster. Blackman shouldn't be on this roster. Jalen Jones should play every snap of the last game, and they should go out and get another corner. Because our corners look horrendous. I mean, in the first game, Edwards looked as bad as I've ever seen. Blackman looked as bad as I've ever seen in this game. They have, and again, with Blackman, he's probably going to be on the roster. Do you know why? Because we traded a 6th-round pick for him. It's the Chris Ballard way. If I give anything up for a player, I will not admit defeat, and I will keep him come hell or high water. He shouldn't be on this roster. I don't know what's out there cornerback-wise, but there's got to be somebody better out there. I think Jalen Jones is probably the best corner. I've always liked him. I just didn't like him in this defense, but damn it, he's got to be better than what we're doing with those two guys. He at least has a feel for the game. He can get his head back. He can, like, his speed and all that can, maybe you can help with that by being more physical at the line of scrimmage. I mean, there's been bigger, longer, physical guys that have played man coverage that weren't super fast. Maybe that's what you do, but it's just for me, it's an ultimatum on the roster, and really, it calls into question Chris Ballard, which is every year. And I know people are going to say you're freaking out over a game, and it's not about the game. It's about the players, specific to playing in this game and what I've seen from them all training camp and in 2 games. And it's not good enough. Like, you should not be given a roster spot totally based on your draft position or what was used to acquire you. You should have to earn playing time. That's what I thought Chris Ballard was talking about when he said he wanted competition. He wanted there to be position battles where the best man will win. But we've never gotten that. It's always, well, the guy that got drafted or the guy that, we traded a pick for or whatever. That's always been the guy that wins in those situations. But I'll tell you right now, JTT's not in my top 6 edge players. Let's see. Key, Clemens, Latu, Gums, Curry. Maybe he's 6. But I don't think we're keeping 6 edge rush. I'm trying to think. Am I leaving somebody out? Did I say Latu? Latu, Key, Clemens, Gums, Curry. I don't know. I guess he'd be 6, and that's your 2nd-round pick. And I think they should go get another edge rusher. There are still guys available. You have the roster. You have the money. Like, you can add to this roster and make it better. And, like, the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. You've still got a shot. I think Bosa's still out there. Is he great? No. Could he help? I think. He's better than JTT. I can tell you that much. There's corners out there. Again, not, you're not going to get prime Rod Woodson, but you're going to get somebody that can help you, I think, much more than, the 2 guys, Blackman and, Edwards. I think you're going to get that. So, and then the center position. So a lot of this is going to come to cut down day. I will be interested to see who makes this roster because I don't think a lot of guys have earned it. The backup offensive line is so bad. I was having flashbacks to like Ryan Grigson offensive lines. It's just unbelievably it's hard to even judge the quarterbacks because our offensive line is so damn bad. How do you judge 2 quarterbacks when basically, the line's getting dominated and they're getting pressure every snap? There's no, who do I think played better today? I think, and who do I think who I would start at the 2, number quarterback 2? It's AR because he gives you legs so you can run with him. You know what I mean? You can do a lot of different things with him. I think he's played a little bit better, significantly better in some ways than Riley has. And he's won games in this league. Like, people forget, like, they always talk about how bad of a bust he is and all this other stuff. He's won games in this league on some not so good teams. with Gus Bradley as his DC. So it's not like he can win you games in the NFL. Phillip didn't win a Cindy last year, and I'm not knocking him. It was a tough schedule, and Riley's never won one. AR has. Granted, he's 500. I think he's like 8-8 or 8-9 or something like that. But for a bust, that's not a bad record. So I don't know. My QB2 is AR. I would play Riley and Easton Stick the next 2 games. I wouldn't even risk AR getting injured because, if it could happen, it will in the next game. And I'm not a fan of playing the starters the next game at all because I know there's going to be a bad injury and then we're all going to say, why did they play the starters in the third game? I don't like any of it, but that's what they're going to do. Just play the last game with these scrubby guys, get your ass kicked, figure out what you need to do, make the cuts, find players from good teams that get cut and get them on the roster. So basically my overall takeaway from this game is not that the Falcons are superior to the Colts or anything like that. It's that the Falcons have better depth. So when they get injured, their players might actually be able to help them. When we get injured, our players, if we have to play any of these guys, are going to be a significant issue and will probably cost us games as per usual with this organization. So, and I just wanted to say shout out to Tyler Goodson for his touchdown run. I always was a big Tyler Goodson guy. Would have been real easy for Chris to, pony up $3-4 million to keep him around, but nah, we're not going to do that. We like DJ Giddens, who's never, healthy and doesn't know what he's doing when he's out there. And so we couldn't have a third running back. We just have 2, right? Real slick there by Ballard. Thought that was stupid of him, of course, because, and I know Tyler Goodson is not the greatest running back that ever lived, and everybody's going to blame him for not making the playoffs in 23, but he's still a very good running back. He's very quick, change of pace guy. Thought he would have helped the offense. What do I know? I'm not the one with the 71-82 record as a GM or whatever it is. So, but anyway, so as far as the quarterbacks go, Riley was, I think, 7 for 14. I think he had no turnovers, and then AR was 3 of 9, not great. He was running for his life. He had an even harder time because that offensive line was so bad. But the penalties and 8 penalties is just too many, and that's a lack of focus, a lack of discipline from these backups. You can't do that even in a preseason game. So, but as far as I guess positives, the positives are really none of our good players, none of our front line guys have played. Our defense, maybe a couple of linebackers that'll see action play, but the D line, no Buck, no Grove, Sauce, Mooney, Cam. I don't think Cam played. A lot of our guys are not out there on defense, and none of our guys are out there on offense outside, I think, one lineman. I think Travis played a little bit, but outside of that, none of our guys are out there. So that's the takeaway. I still think our frontline guys are good. Our first string players, all 22, very solid. It's when you get into the last 30 guys on the roster that I'm a little concerned about, or more than a little concerned about. I think the offensive line needs to add, Tenuta, if Tenuta's healthy, you've got your swing tackle in Tenuta, and then you've got 2 good guards and Travis and also Tucker. I'm not sure Tucker can play center. I don't know if I want to find out during the season. So I think I would add my 9th offensive lineman needs to be a backup center, somebody that can maybe do both, play guard and center, whatever. But they need to add another lineman. I do like our 8 when healthy, so that's positive. I absolutely despise our backup 1 tech We have nothing there. Tillery, Nnamdi, awful. Just get them off the roster. Those guys should be easy cuts. They're terrible, old, and we want to get younger on defense. Can we get them off the roster? Tim Smith, around the ball, but didn't make any tackles. I would definitely see what's out there for that. Cause I don't think Colby Wooden wants to be a backup one tech, but that might be what we're looking at because he's way better than anything else we have. And he played there all last year, so he had his experience on, again, I want to point this out, on a playoff team. So he's used to playing that position in high leverage games, and so maybe that's the move. I know he's not going to like it, and he might cost the Colts him re-signing here if they play him there all year, but I would rather, if I was him, I'd rather just play and show my versatility than to not play at all. So I think you could see Wooden playing 3 and 1 because those other two guys should be on the roster. I think at best Tim Smith's probably a practice squad guy. Cameron Ball, same. I think he's probably a practice squad guy. So those are things that have to be worked out. Again, I said this a million times. It's just a house of cards. You don't have even league average depth behind what your league average, meaning what the rest of the league has. Like everybody says, well, once you get to the, fifth corner, I don't know about that. Like their fifth corner is, the Atlanta's fifth corner is better than our fifth corner. And Atlanta's probably in their division, I would say, I don't know. That's a weird division. Who knows? I think Tampa's the best team in that division, but I could be wrong. Bottom line is Ballard's failed at building deep depth and having a complete roster. And I've said it over and over again since the debacle that was free agency, when he was signing all of these when I say back, I mean back of the roster guys that might not even make the roster. Wanye Thomas couldn't even play on a bad Dallas team. Now Cam Taylor-Britt looks like he's gonna be fine. But Jerry Tillery, Derek Nnamdi, all these guys were just wastes of time. Michael Clemens, why? Like, go get somebody that can help. So, at the end of the day, the Colts are in this position because of their GM, and it's, he refuses to admit he made a mistake, made a bad pick, so he holds on to guys too long. They get worse and worse to the point where they're unplayable, and then he cuts them. When you should probably cut bait immediately. Like there's zero chance Blake Freeland should be on this roster. If he is on this roster, it's only because Chris Ballard drafted him in the 4th round and he doesn't want to eat that, right? So I think I've been negative enough. I'm going to try to talk about some positives in this game. I don't know if this is a positive or a negative, but the kicking competition is back in full effect. Schrader is, I think, 100% in these 2 games, and Groupie, I think, is 0, although one of them was like a 61, but this one he missed today was bad. So you're basically going on what one guy does in the games and one guy does in training camp, because in training camp, Groupie's definitely been better, but do you consider Groupies, 100% into last season in this, judgment as well? I think they're both fine. I think I was team Groupie. I don't know, man. It's a tough decision. I'm not there. I don't talk to him. I don't know the specific numbers on what has gone on in, training camp, but I, just read that Groupie's been more consistent, so that's good, but what matters is what happens when the lights are on, and he's only had 2 kicks though, so I think they were trying to get a better look at Schrader. I think they know what they have in Groupie, so That'll be an interesting, I think it's a good problem to have because I think they're both good. So I think either way the Colts come out with a good kicker. So that's positive. I actually like what I've seen out of AR. I think that he's established himself as the second quarterback. He hasn't, Riley just looks completely unnerved and just not like, he does not look like he's as poised as last year. And understandably so, considering what's in front of him trying to block. But AR had the same thing, and I thought he looked more poised. Was he great? No, guys dropping passes. He missed some plays. But he just looked more poised and under control. I thought Riley looked kind of frantic. So I'm ready for AR to be the number 2 quarterback and for Riley to be number 3. Oh, they're all going to be on the roster, right? So, and if DJ goes down, we're probably pretty screwed. So there's that. I think Seth McGowan has locked down the number 2 running back spot. He's been really, really good. I think Anderson Castle's got a shot to make the roster too, because DJ Giddens, again, best of ability is available. He's not been available. So, I mean, they've earned it. Like, McGowan has been solid. Castle's put up numbers. Again, we all know against bad, backups or whatever, but he's still putting up numbers. And you got to have some running backs, and those are the 3. I mean, maybe Ulysses Bentley. I don't know what his situation is, but maybe you bring in another running back to work out. I don't know. Ballard never does anything I think he should do. When I think there's a spot, maybe that should be looked at. But anyway, I thought Coleman Owen did a nice job. Coleman Owen and Deion Burks had nice games today. Like, Deion had, I think 3 catches. I thought he looked good. I think he's playing his way onto this roster. Coleman Owen is definitely a good return guy. So I like those 2 guys. Didn't see a lot out of anybody else. Just trying to go through the defense was, the offense was bad. The defense was bad. The, poise was bad. 8 penalties. The special teams weren't great. There's really nothing positive from this game. I'm trying to think if I'm leaving anyone out. I do like Jalen Travis, Jalen Farmer and Jalen Travis. I do like those guys, and I do like, Dalton Tucker as a guard. I'm not sure I like him as a center. I'm trying to think about wide receiver, if there's anything else I wanted to mention about those guys. No, Deion and Owen looked well, looked good, solid anyway. So, we'll see what happens with that. Again, I think it's going to be an interesting cut down day, and I don't think it'll end with the cut downs. Obviously, the guys on the roster will be on that roster for whatever amount of time, but I think they're going to be looking for more guys to add. I would definitely be on the open market looking at remaining free agents to bring in here, because I think there's some available that can help, and you have the money. And if you're trying to win, then let's try to win, right? That's my main thing. If you're trying to win, let's try to win. Let's go get the best players we can so we have a chance to win and we don't have another meltdown, because I'm tired of meltdowns. I mean, 19 we had one, 21 we had one, 23 we lost the final game that wasn't really a meltdown, then 25 we had the biggest of them all. So, you just don't want that to happen. You get tired of it. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm leaving out, because, I saw some people mentioning in the chat, in the Colts Roundtable chat, about CJ Allen. Look, the dude's been injured all training camp. I'm pretty positive he's not 100%. And people are talking about how he's a bust and he's terrible and all this other stuff. Listen, I am not judging CJ Allen based on half of one training camp and one half of football. Did he look great? No, of course not. But I didn't expect him to look great. He's had 2 separate, I think, injuries. So I'm going to give him time. Like, we gave JTT time, right? We can give CJ Allen time. I mean, if you watched his tape, well, first of all, he has 2 terrible defensive tackles in front of him. So he's got to deal with, guards getting to the second level, makes his job harder. So he's got to figure that out on top of trying to play fast, understand the defense. He's got a lot on his plate. I'm not worried about him at all. Not yet. It's way too early for that. I want to see CJ Allen playing behind Buck or Grover or Wooden or, that's who I want to see him playing behind. Those are their 3 best defensive linemen and also Tommy. So, and none of those guys played today. So, I mean, I like the linebacker competition though. Carlisle has played pretty well. Ajake's played pretty well. The young guy Betcher's played pretty well. Obviously, Gaither's going to start. So, we'll see what happens, but I'm not too concerned about all that yet. I would rather play young players and have them learn on the fly and make mistakes because that's how you learn than play old guys that just suck, right? So I'm willing to deal with whatever growing pains there are at linebacker, with some of these players simply because they're young and talented and it's going to take them a little bit of time. But I'm hopeful he gets a little bit more action in the next game and gets to actually play behind real defensive tackles so we can see what he's capable of. But yeah, it's tough when you're playing behind, those 2 tackles I talked about. They shouldn't even be on the roster. They're not even listed in that they even played, which is hilarious. Yeah, so, Burks had a nice game returning kickoffs, got one back to the 31. Owen had another 17-yard punt return. I think Coleman's going to make the team, man. I really do. I think Anthony Gold, is he injured? Is he hurt? Like, where's he at? I haven't seen anything from him. How he makes this team, I have no idea. He's done absolutely nothing. Like, Coleman Owen, every game he's out there, he's doing a hell of a job returning punts. So maybe you got Burks returning kicks and Owen returning punts, or maybe Owen does both. I don't know, but I've liked what I've seen out of him. And I think he could play in a pinch. He could certainly play the slot receiver role if you needed him to. And, as long as he takes care of the ball and he catches it, or he catches the ball, I think he could be fine. So I think he's playing himself on to the roster. I think he might be, I don't know. I think 4 guys are definitely going to be at receiver. You've got your starting, let's see, Pierce, Downs, Doolin, Keenan, Westbrook Akine. So it's going to come down to Owen and Burks. They might put Owen on the practice squad because I think he's a lot less likely to be picked up than Dion Burks is. So maybe Burks is the 6. Because I don't think they keep 7. I think Treadwell gets cut. I think Montgomery gets cut. So yeah, it might come down to Owen and Burks. That's crazy. But I like them both, and I like what I saw out of Burks today. Really, very few guys I thought actually did a decent job, and I thought both of those guys were solid. So we'll see what happens, but we have one more game left against a very good team. To me, well, maybe not the best, but the most talented team I think we're going to see in the Detroit Lions, which will be next Saturday at 1. I will be glad when the preseason is over because I'm always so worried about injuries and all that, and apparently Shane is going to play starters. I hope it's for just 1 or 2 drives because I don't want anybody getting injured. I think it's kind of stupid. DJ's not going to play. Why play anybody else? But whatever. So we have a game with the Lions next week. We already kind of know where we stand with backups. The Lions are a very good team. They play in a very tough division. They're very well, have a very good roster, good running game, good quarterback, big time receivers. They've got everything. They've got a great secondary. So there'll be a test for the Colts, but it's a preseason game. They need to get as much work in as they can. The guys that are on the outside looking in or close to being on the inside looking out, those are the guys I want to see in this game. I already know what I have in Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor and Buckner and Grover. I already know. You don't have to play those guys. I want to see these scrubby guys play again so I can figure out what this team needs in terms of, and they're not all scrubs, but I want to see the guys that are on the roster bubble get a lot of reps. I don't know how many reps that is, but I want to see them play so that they can make the best decision possible for the roster. Because that's what this is about. You want the best 54, whatever it is, guys on your roster going into the season and then kind of mix and match once you get to your cut down after this game against Detroit, and then see what's available on the waiver wire, on the free agent market to try to improve your team. Because these backups that we have cannot be, not all of them. Obviously you're going to keep some of them, but you cannot keep all of these guys. Some of the guys that were on the team last year are not performing, so they shouldn't be on this year's team. The JTT thing is, he's going to make the roster probably. He's done nothing to earn it other than be drafted in the second round. He looks awful. Worse than anybody else. That's from his draft position. People that were taken around him and all that. He looks so bad. It's sad because it would be a great story, but I'm that's the biggest concern I have. Him, and then the overall just terrible depth on this roster. Again, attributed solely to Chris Ballard. I'm none of this is on Shane. Shane can only work with what he has, which isn't a lot. And for the people that think Shane's going to get fired after this year, if Ballard gets fired after this year, I got some bad news for you. That's not going to happen because Shane is very well thought of in that building. Also very well thought of throughout the league as a top 5 play caller, top 3 play caller. He would be snapped up in a second by another team. So I don't think Shane's going anywhere barring anything, unless they go 4-13 or something like that, and it's just an implosion. Shane's going to be here. Now, Ballard, on the other hand, I think is gone. Because remember, I've said this a bunch of times, Shane has money on his deal. He's got years on his deal. So he's not going anywhere. But Chris, I think, is gone. Based on, this is supposed to be the most urgent of most urgent years and all this, and this is the roster he put together. He's got one foot out the door, man. He's gone. This is, when your ass is on the line, this is not the roster you put together. So I'm not saying he doesn't care. I think he's accepted that this is it for him. So it's whatever. I would love to see what Dodds could do for a year, but I don't know if they'll go that route. I don't think Dodds and Ballard are married to the same thought processes. I think Dodds is his own guy. I kind of think he's been waiting this out to get, because he wants this job. Because Dodds has had opportunities to get other jobs. He's turned them down to come back to Indy. Why else would you do that unless you knew there was a good chance you're going to get a shot in Indy? So maybe Dodds has a handshake agreement. I don't know, but That's what I think is going to happen. I think Ballard will be fired. Dodds will take over as the GM. The more I think about it, the more I think that's what's going to happen. And it's just they're going to give Dodds opportunity to turn this thing around. And I've always liked him, but he's just got the Ballard stink on him, man. It's hard, but I will give him a fair shot if that's what happens. I try to do that with everybody. You can't have preconceived notions going into it, because even when you're the assistant GM, you're not the GM. You're not the final dictating voice, and Dodds has never been that here. So I can't judge him for Ballard's mistakes. So if that's what ends up happening at the end of this year, I'm going to give him a fair shot. So that's where we're at, guys. Colts lose 34-6. Their home opener. I really feel bad for the fans that actually paid to attend this game. It was a listless, lackluster performance with literally nothing exciting happening for the Colts. One of the more boring, sad preseason games. They're preseason games, so they don't matter. But people that pay money and go there, you still want to see something exciting. The Colts score 6 points, don't even get 200 yards of offense, can't stop anybody on defense. Just a lackluster, crappy performance from damn near everybody that took the field, minus about 5 guys. So for the people that showed up to that game, I'm sorry. I respect your loyalty, and you're a better man than me, because I could have not sat through that and watched it in person. It was that bad. It was an awful performance. But again, it means absolutely nothing. What matters is the evaluation process. If these guys can finally see Blake Freeland is not going to be your swing tackle. JTT might have been a bomb, might have been a miss. They have to see these things. And Mekhi Blackman, yes, we traded a 6 for him. You might have to just eat that and cut him too. So those are the big things I'm taking away from this. Like, will Chris Ballard finally recognize his mistakes and do something about them? I don't have high hopes, but it is what it is. We're closer to the NFL season and seeing our real, top 22 players and our real special teams play, and that's a good sign. We're 2-3 weeks away, so 13th. So that's it's about half a month. I'd say, there's 30 days in August, about 21 days. So 3 weeks. So we got 3 weeks, and it's going to be here quick. So, again, this has been the Culture Uncut post-game recap wrap-up show. And if you guys have any questions, I'm sure I'll do a Q&A after this, like I did last week. That's kind of been my form. Just ask, leave your thoughts on, forget the Q&A. I'll do that on X. Leave your thoughts on this game, good, bad, indifferent, in the comment section. I want to hear what you guys think. What is your biggest concern? Is depth a concern to you? Are you concerned about some of the players that were on last year's team that played a lot, that are playing very poorly? For me, I want to see Jalen Jones get more opportunities. Those other 2 guys have proven what they are in 2 games, and it's not good. Let's let Jalen Jones start a game at corner, please, and let's see him in this defense against at least second string receivers, so we can make it, because I don't want to just cut Jalen Jones loose if he can help us, right? So for me, that's a big, something big that I'm looking at going into this next game, is getting him more reps and getting the other guys less. They've shown what they are capable and incapable of. Let's let Jalen Jones play. I thought he was okay today. Granted, playing against guys that will probably be working it, mechanic jobs in 2 weeks, but that's not the point. He didn't screw up, and so let's see what he can do against, some better players going forward. That's what I'm looking at going forward. But what were your thoughts on this game? Any comments? Whatever you want to say. I don't think anybody actually really cares about the score or the loss or anything like that. It's more about the individual evaluation of these players and how bad they are playing. That's frustrating to me. and the lack of depth and also the seemingly lack of urgency Chris Ballard has to do anything to fix this. That's where I'm at. But I appreciate you guys listening. Rough one for the Colts today. Again, lose the home opener in preseason. Game number 2, 34-6 to the Atlanta Falcons after a really solid week of scrimmaging with the Falcons that the Colts got the best of. They come out, lay an egg today. Not great. But we moved to 0-1-1, even though it should be 1-1 in preseason in the meaningless record department. And we will be back next week, same time, same place, Lucas Oil, against a much better team in the Detroit Lions. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I can't wait to hear these because I'm sure you guys have some hot takes and some really good takes. So hope everybody has a much better weekend than the Colts did in this game. And I will talk to you guys probably tomorrow or maybe sometime during the week about a Q&A, and if there's any news that comes out, I'll talk about that as well. So thank you for listening. Again, appreciate the support. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Colt fans, I want as many Colt fans listening as possible. I love this, I love Colt Nation. I love the community. I love you guys that have stuck with me from the For the Culture days, and I appreciate all of you listening. Again, have a wonderful weekend. I will talk to you soon. Again, Colts lose 34-6 to the Atlanta Falcons in their home opener, preseason game number 2. They will be back in Lucas Oil next week, same time, against the Detroit Lions. This has been the Culture Uncut post-game recap of the Indianapolis Colts loss to the Atlanta Falcons 34-6. Everybody take care. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk soon. This has been Culture Uncut with your host, Jason Spears.